Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for deciding to click on today's video. It is going to be a first impression, so we are going to be trying out a bunch of new makeup products in today's video. I have here just a few of them. I have in front of me a ton more, but it's going to be a full face of all new products. So I have the Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation from NYX. I have a Persona liquid lip. I have the new contour palette from MAC. I have this new Spellbound palette from Stilazzi. I have some more products over here from MAC. I have some new brow products from Physicians Formula. I have a new setting powder. I have new primer. I have everything right in front of me, and we're going to be trying it all out in today's video and getting my first initial thoughts on these products. So if you guys are ready to go ahead and get started with this first impressions, just keep on watching. Start this. I have here, like I said, a bunch of new products in front of me. So I'm going to start with this primer from Erborian. I believe I'm saying that right. I got this recently, and this is the Extra Matte Ultra Mattifying Primer Shine Control. So it is a primer, and I feel like I've heard a few people talking about this, but not too many. So here is what the consistency looks like. I'm gonna add just a little bit more, and I'm just going to rub this in and apply this. So this is supposed to be a mattifying primer. I'm assuming it smells like a really strong scent to it. I'm assuming it's going to help kind of mattify the skin, and I'm assuming normally mattifying primers help with pores as well. So hopefully, it has a good smell, like I said. Hopefully it helps kind of fill in my pores that I have up here and here. So I don't see a whole lot of pore filling going on, so it's definitely just going to be like a mattifying primer. I don't think it's really going to help much with pores. So next we're going to move on to foundation. So I'm going to be using the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop Full Coverage Foundation. I have mine in the shade True Beige. I'm not sure if this is going to be a good shade match for me. I guess we will have to see. It does look a little bit yellow, and I'm just going to be using this sponge from Ofra. And I'm just going to pick this up and apply it. And it does look like it's going to be a tad yellow, but I feel like my neck right now is kind of a bit darker than my face, so we might end up making it work. It just looks like a tint yellow, but it'll work. I feel like we can make it work. The coverage on it looks decent. This is just like with about one pump. I have this massive crater here, right here on my face. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to go in with some concealer here in a minute to help cover that up. But first layer, it definitely, you can still see like my moles and stuff, but it did do a pretty good job of covering everything up. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply the rest. So I definitely think that this shade is a tad too yellow for me, like I was saying, because looking at it even next to my neck, like you can tell that it's definitely a lot more yellow. So I don't think that this is the best shade match for me. I know there is a ton of shades in this foundation, so I'll have to just exchange it. But the coverage on it looks really nice. I do think that it isn't like too mattifying. It's definitely matte, but it's not like the crepey kind of matte. So I think it will work. I'm going to go ahead and run this down my neck and see if we can't make it look a little bit better. And then when I apply my concealer, we can always try and kind of lighten this up as well. For concealer, I don't have a new one. I'm going to go in with the Born This Way Multi-Sculpting Concealer from Too Faced. I don't have a new one to try out, and this has just been my favorite lately. So I'm just going to go in and conceal with this one. I'm also going to, since this is a little bit lighter than the foundation, kind of go in and hope that we can lighten this up a bit as well. I'm also just going to bring this up on my eye just to help as an eye base as well for when we go in with our eyeshadow. This sponge, you guys, by the way, is so good. This is from Ofra. Really been enjoying this. It's like a really soft, really nice sponge. Does a really good job of blending everything out. So next I'm going to go in with the transparent powder. This is the 01 powder from Rimmel London, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use this to go under my eyes. It looks a little bit pink, so I don't know if I want to use this to set my under eyes with or just to set my face with. It has one of those little like puffs, so I'm going to actually apply this with my little sponge here. This is what I use for powder, and I'm going to apply this as my under eye powder. I wasn't sure if it was going to be too pink, but hopefully it looked like it blended out nicely on the skin, so hopefully it will on my under eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this pretty generously. I normally go in with quite a bit of powder. I can't tell if this has a scent to it or if I'm still smelling the primer on me, because something still has like a super strong scent, and I got this like all over my jacket here because it is black. I feel like I got the powder everywhere. So I'm gonna let that bake on my under eyes for a while, and then I'm just gonna really quickly kind of set the rest of my face with this as well. So while we're gonna let that bake, I'm gonna go in with this new product from Physicians Formula. This is the Brow Last Long Wearing Brow Gel. I have mine in the shade Light Brown, and I'm going to try this out. So this looks kind of odd. It's on like this little kind of brush thing here. And then we also have a spoolie. I'm not sure how I get the spoolie out. Has a spoolie here. Okay, so you just pull the spoolie. So I'm gonna try and apply this. I don't really know how it's gonna work out on the brows, but I'm just gonna try going in with this. It looks like it might be like a pretty intense brow gel that you could use more as like a brow color or like a brow pomade. So I'm gonna try this and see how it looks. It does look kind of wet on the brows. Like I feel like it's, hopefully when it dries down it doesn't look so like wet, but I think the color is pretty good. This isn't what I would typically use, so it's kind of an interesting product. I don't even know if I would go in with this like at the end, because it definitely has a lot of color to it. Typically with my brow gels, I will go in and use them like after I've used my brow pencil or my pomade, but this actually doesn't look half bad though. This is more of like a very, very pigmented brow product, so I would use this. This would be the only thing I probably would go in with. I feel like that looks better once we kind of spoolied this out. I do think it looks a little wet still, so we'll see how it dries down. But I don't mind the way that the brow looks with that in. I feel like it is a good color match for me, so let's go ahead and do the other brow. So now that we've got our brows on, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe away this powder. I'm also gonna bring it up onto my lid so it can also set the concealer that I put on my lid. I don't want too much powder there, so I typically will just do this. I'll go over it just to kind of lay it down and get rid of any creasing that we might have had. So the powder actually, I was worried it was gonna be too pink, but I don't really notice any pinkness, and I also feel like it did a good job of like blurring my pores right here. They're still noticeable, but it did do a good job of blurring them, and it looks nice on the skin as well. I think it helped with the foundation color as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to my face, and then we'll do our eyes next. So I'm gonna go in, this is the brand new Sculpt and Shade Contour Palette from MAC. This is the Studio Fix version. I have mine in the light medium, and I'm going to use this to bronze, also to contour, and so we have these shades right here that I'm gonna use. So I think to bronze, I'm gonna go in with this shade right here and maybe mix it with a little of this shade, and then I'll use this one to contour. So let me grab my brush here. I'm gonna be using the Morphe Y9 brush, and like I said, I'm just gonna mix those two first shades, and I'm going to apply that. I think it's cool that they came out with these palettes because they have a lot of like shades that people use a lot, especially in their kits. And it seems like it's applying up pretty nicely. I'm just gonna start out pretty gentle with the bronzing shade, and then I'll go in with the contour shade. Next, I'm going in with that first shade, and I just applied a little bit of that just to intensify it and contour a little bit. So I'm just applying that right just here in that little socket. Just wiggling it. I like this brush for that because I feel like it's just really precise. So I'm just applying a little bit. So I think that's gonna do it for our contouring. I'm not gonna use any of the highlighting shades in this palette for this look, but I am gonna go in with blush next. So I'm gonna be using the Hot Mama Blush from the Balm. Here is what that looks like. I've actually never tried this, so I'm excited to try it out. So I'm just using this blush brush from Shayna B Miami, and I'm just going to apply this. I'm gonna go in pretty generously right over where we contoured. And I did get a coupon code with the Balm. They recently sent me a package and they gave me a 15% off coupon code for you guys. It's It's not an affiliate code, but if you guys want to use it, it is just makeupmolly. We'll get you 15% off at the Balm. I know they just came out with their Rock Alternative palettes, and I just got them in the mail. I wanted to use them in today's video, but I also wanted to use the SpellBound palette, so I'll be definitely using those in a first impression soon, and I'm excited to try those out. So I'm basically just applying this blush pretty much everywhere to my face, but really working this into my cheekbones. I feel like that's a really pretty color. Like, it's a nice rosy color, but it's not too rosy. Lately, I've been going really heavy on the blush. I don't know why, but I've just been really into blush lately. And next, we're gonna move on to highlights. I didn't have too many new highlights to use, but I did wanna use a newer one. So this one is from MAC. This is the Iridescent Powder, and it's like a loose powder. And this shade looks a little bit dark, so I'm not sure how it's going to work on my skin tone, but we're going to try it out. So let me get my highlighting brush. I was really nervous that this was going to be too dark, but I actually kind of like it. Like, I don't think it's dark at all. It looks really, really pretty. So let's apply some to the other side here. Definitely looks nice over top of this blush too. Like, it just gives a nice pearly look to it. And it's not too overpowering like I was worried it would be. And also, it's really layering really nicely too. All right, so now I'm gonna take my sponge and I'm just gonna go over the highlight and the contour and just make sure that everything is all blended together here. And I'm also going to bake, I think, just to kind of carve out this line a little bit more, but just going over everything to help push it all together. So I went ahead and I carved out my cheekbones with the Stay Matte powder, and now I'm going to go in with the SpellBound palette from Stilazzi. I opened this in my last PR unboxing, and you guys all said that you wanted to see a tutorial with this palette. So that's what we're going to be doing. So here is what it looks like, and I'm thinking I want to play with like the purples in this palette because they look really, really pretty. So I'm first going to go in with the shade right here. I'm going to first use that as my transition. So I'm just going to be taking this on my Sigma E25, and I'm going to go ahead and pop this shade into my crease. The shade is applying really, really nicely, and I've built it up a little bit, and it isn't getting much fallout in the pan. They are a little bit softer, so you can see like it's a little bit of kickback, but nothing bad, and I do like the pigmentation, and it's blending really nicely as well. So I think next I'm going to go in with the shade Hot Springs, which is just like a shade darker. It's more of like a pinky orange shade. And I'm just going to use that to just deepen up this crease a little bit here. Alright, and now that we've got that blended out, I'm going to go into S&M, which is this really deep purple shade right here. And I'm going to very lightly apply that into the crease. I'm just going to apply it to the outer part of my eye. I'm nervous that this is gonna have fallout. Hopefully we don't get too much. So I'm basically just stamping it on my eye, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drag it in a little bit. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna stamp it and then start to blend it out. So now I just flipped my brush over and I'm just blending out the shade. I'm actually really impressed with how nicely that shade blended out. I'm getting a little bit of patchiness right here, if you can see right in that area. I'm not sure if that's from me or if that is the shade. So next I'm going to go into the shade Midnight right here. That's like that deeper blue shade. And I'm going to apply that. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to stamp it down and then work it in. Alright, so now with my finger, I'm going to go into the shade right here called Temptress, and I'm going to apply that all over my lid, and it looks like a really, really pretty shimmery purple, and I'm basically just going to apply that to the inner half of my eye, and it looks super pigmented, really, really pretty. I love that shade. So after we've applied that shade, I'm just going to go back in with the very first shade we used, and I'm just going to go in and blend everything all together, make sure we don't have any harsh lines up here, and basically just mold it all together. For the lower lash line, I basically just mimicked everything I did on the top, and now I'm going to go in with the shade Skinny Dip right here, and I'm going to apply that one to my inner corner on my E36 from Morphe. I'm just going to apply that just on the inner corner for a little bit of a pop. All right, so now that we're done with the eye look, I'm pretty impressed with how those blended out. I know this is available tomorrow on Stilazzi's website. If you guys don't know, I do have a coupon code with Stilazzi. You can use it at the checkout. It's just makeupmolly, and it will save you some money. So that does release tomorrow, and I'm pretty impressed with that palette. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to set my face before I apply my mascara. I'm just using the Too Faced HangoverRX 3-in-1 Replenishing Setting Spray, and this is new. I've never tried it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spray this. That is definitely a very strong sprayer on that. I feel like, oh, it smells so good though. It smells like coconuts, but it's definitely like an intense spritz when you spray it. All right, so next I'm gonna move on to mascara. I have here the Killer Curves mascara from Physicians Formula. This is brand new from them. Here's what the wand looks like on the mascara. It looks like a really nice hourglass shaped wand. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to my lashes. I have naturally long lashes, so for me, mascaras typically, I'm not too picky with them. I actually really like that. I feel like it did a really good job of lengthening my lashes. So I really like the way that that made my lashes look. I think they look nice and long. And then lastly, we're gonna do our lips. So this is new from Persona. This is the Flamingo Matte Liquid Lip. I haven't tried this formula, and I do really like the formula, but I have yet to try out this shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply it. This is a really, really pretty color. They also smell really nice, like a vanilla scent, kind of like cupcakes. And they dry down really, really nicely as well. All right, and here we have our final look with all of the products. So let's go ahead and run through everything. So I'm first gonna start with the Extra Matte Primer from Erborian. And I didn't really notice too much of a difference when I used this primer. It felt really nice on the skin, but I don't know, it's hard to tell when you're using it with a new foundation, like which one's doing what. So I'll have to try this out with the foundation that I normally use and see if it does like matte my skin more. And then the Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. This definitely, I think, we made it look better, but I think for me, this color just, I don't know, it's a little off. It's a little bit too yellow for me, a little bit too orange for me. But the actual wear of the foundation, I like. I like the way it's wearing on my skin, and it's not really like creping at all. It doesn't look like too matte or too drying, so I like the coverage that it gave me as well. And then we used the matte setting powder, which I almost just dropped, from Rimmel London, and I did actually really like the setting powder. I think it was really nice for under the eyes. It felt very smoothing. It also did a nice job of kind of blurring out the skin. It was nice for baking. I do really like that. So then we used the new Studio Fix Sculpt and Shape contour palette from MAC, and I did really enjoy this. I think that the shades worked really well for my skin tone, and they blended out really, really nicely. We also used the Hot Mama blush from the Balm, and I really, really like the shade of this blush. I think it's really, really pretty. Then we used from MAC as well, this is the iridescent powder. This was in the shade Golden Bronze, and I did end up liking the way this looked on my skin. It definitely isn't like too overpowering. It's a very like subtle kind of within kind of a glow, but I was really impressed with this because I thought it was gonna be too dark for my skin tone, but actually I think it looked really, really nice. And then from Physicians Formula, we used the Brow Last Long Wear Brow Gel. I think that out of everything, this was the biggest like for me. I think that this did an okay job and it was really easy to apply, but I also think that it is kind of like cakey on my brows, and when it dried down, like it just feels like crepey, and it also, like if you guys can see, like it just looks kind of goopy on the brows. Like it doesn't like look natural, I feel like. So I don't know if I love this. I'll have to try it out again. I definitely like the shade of it. And then the next thing we used was the Spellbound palette from Stilazzi. I really did enjoy this. I really liked the formula a lot. I feel like I really, really like the eye look that we came up with. The shades were pigmented, the mattes blended really nicely, and I think the color range of this palette is really, really pretty. So then we have the Killer Curves mascara from Physicians Formula. I really like the way my lashes look. I think it made them really long, and it also did a good job of like separating them, and I think it's a super black mascara, which is always, always really nice. And then we have have the HangoverRX 3-in-1. This is the setting spray we used. Really liked the smell of this. The only thing was the sprayer on this was like really intense. Like it was pretty intense when you sprayed it. That was my only con with that. And then last we had the liquid lipstick from Persona. This was in Flamingo. I really love the shade. And I've really been enjoying this formula. I think it looks really nice and it dries down so easily. And it also lasts for a really long time. I know I wore the Holy Grail one the other day and I couldn't believe how long it lasted. So definitely like this color though. So after that, that is going to do it for this first impressions. So for the most part, we enjoyed everything that we tried. I didn't really like the brow product much, but other than that, everything was pretty much a hit. So that was exciting for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy seeing this first impressions. Let me know what you guys think of this look and also what you think of these products down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye, friends.